Part 2 of tackling this roof rebuild. So last weekend we started in the entire demolition process of taking all the old stuff off the roof, ripping up the old part of the roof, and then we faced ourselves with a sagging roof.
I am on the back end of the RV right now. I have about 2 to 3 inches of space above my head, and if I walk back here, my head is touching.
So throughout the work week after work, we have been coming over here trying to identify what we can do that might work. We haven't entirely found exactly what did work, but we have identified a bit of what has not been working. So this weekend, we are hoping to put some new tactics into play that we think are going to work for fixing the sinking roof.
So we knew this project was going to be some work. I think we didn't know exactly how much work it was going to be. The first problem that we ran into that we are definitely going to address is the first time we used too thick of board. I don't know if it's the thickness or the type of board, but we used 1/4 inch BCX plywood. It's definitely a lot more rigid than what came with the RV. And we thought that was going to be a good thing because it's going to be stronger. But the problem is that it didn't bend enough in places to get a really good adhesion on the roof. So these are the boards that we tried to install already. I guess we did install, but did a poor job of it. So this should give you a good sense of kind of what the thickness of the board is like, and also how well it adhered. That first piece wasn't too bad, but this piece hardly has any residue on it. It was really easy to just pull right up and uninstall. As well as these pieces, it looked like it was decently adhered in some places. The glue came right up in others, and then in other places there isn't any glue at all. The second problem that we faced is that we didn't put supports underneath the roof structure. So previously we laid down a piece of wood, we put a bunch of weight on top of it, hoping that it would stick, but all that did was cave the roof inward since it didn't have any upward pressure from the bottom. So this time we built a 3 jack system with 3 different supports to hopefully distribute weight across the top of the RV. This is going to bring the foam up in line with the metal framing and give us a nice surface to adhere to. We already tried taking this tarp off once and starting this project, and it started to rain, so hopefully now the rain is done for the day and we can get this project done. And quick rain break. This is pretty frustrating. So a slightly annoying thing about this project is we filled up a lot of this with the foam. That was before we jacked it up. So now that we're jacking it up, a lot of the foam is too high. So we got to shave a decent amount of it off.
Okay, so the front cab here has now been all put down.
We got a lot of bricks.
We got a lot of weight because we want to make sure that this part is adhering as good as possible, and we definitely made sure to put a lot of weight. Right down here is the seam of these 2 pieces that are being joined together to hold down all the styrofoam below. I think first impressions, this is the best adhesion that it's felt.
I'm honestly not sure if I'm completely convinced, but it's definitely better than what we had before. Yeah, I think we're on the right track.
Yeah, I agree that it's an improvement. Granted, the jacks are still up underneath, and the biggest part that's frustrating is the foam glue takes 7 days to fully cure. We're not gonna wait a full 7 days to see if it works because this project would take 2 months. So I think we're gonna be done for today of just doing this front piece. So we'll give like a full 24 hours to have this glue set for everything that we're asking to do. We wanna give it the best chance possible within a reasonable timeline. So
on the other areas, we might be willing to go a little lighter, but this is like the worst spot on the RV. We want, fingers crossed, we hope this turns out. One other thing I forgot to mention was that we changed from our last design to this one. Is basically this is all the structure that we have right here. This is the frame piece. Previously we were replacing the pieces that were in here, and this piece didn't overlap on top of this frame. So we were just copying what was there already, but since we get a chance to kind of rethink this and think about how we want to do it better, it makes sense that both of these pieces would overlap on this frame, and so that way they line up really nicely even when you press on them.
It's like icing a cake.
Oh my God, she's crumbling.
So the second piece of underlayment we just put down. I know we said we're gonna wait another 24 hours before we did anything, but honestly, I feel pretty happy that we did do this. So you can see our work down here where my foot is forward. That is what we did this morning, and we added on this other section on the back. And right now it's 6:41 p.m. We probably did this front part around 10 in the morning or so. So we still gave ourselves some time before we moved just one jack over, but it's looking pretty good. We have things weighed down, and honestly, stepping on it, all the seams are lining up. It feels really good. I suppose it's gonna be a matter of when we take all the jacks out entirely, how well it holds up. That will be the ultimate test, but I think we're really onto something here. If we take down the jacks tomorrow and it entirely sags, I don't know if I'm recording tomorrow. It will just be a mess. But I really think this is gonna work. Everything's looking good. I'm pretty happy with how today went overall. So time to cover this thing up for like the millionth time, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Okay, it is now the next morning. I've taken off the tarp, moved some of the weights off of the top of the pieces that we set yesterday, and now it is the final test, I would say, to remove the jacks from underneath the inside of the RV and see if we have any bowing. Really, fingers crossed, I hope this works. I'm not sure what we're gonna do if this doesn't. We don't wanna remove these braces permanently, but we're gonna take them down and hopefully shift them down the RV so we can work on the next pieces. But first, we gotta see if we have some sag. First one down.
Okay.
Okay.
That looks fantastic, but it's still supported.
Not too bad so far.
My heart's like low-key pounding. As we've been doing this project, we've been staying with my parents, which I'm super grateful for, and I love them, but I think I would love to have my own space back a bit more. All right, Bikahuna. Oh my God, I think we're free. Oh, yeah.
To be fair, there isn't any weight on it yet, but that is such an improvement from last time.
There was no weight on it before when there was sag.
I would say we got about an inch difference. It actually looks flat, I think is the biggest thing.
Oh my God.
Let's get this going. Okay, so at this point in the project, we've got about half of the roof done. So you can see we have this middle piece here with a bunch of weights on it. We started in the front and we're working our way back. So we have probably one more piece that's just foam, and then we have some wood that we haven't taken up everything yet. So that's kind of the state of the roof right now. So I know I talked about this stuff earlier that we're using for our project. This is PL300. This says it's specifically for foam board, but unfortunately we've been going through a lot of it, and we went out to Home Depot. They didn't have any more of it. So rather than put our project on even more of a pause than it has been, we decided to try the next best thing that they had. This is also a Loctite product, but this is called Premium. It works on wood, drywall, brick, concrete, and included is foam board. So I'm gonna do a quick test with a spare piece of foam and one of the pieces of paneling that I cut off already between these two products and see which one works better. Because this says it's specifically for foam. I've heard good stuff about this too, but just want to verify that this is going to work if we're going to put it on the rest of our roof. This project is actually insane. We've probably spent a total of, I guess, maybe 25 hours on this so far, and probably only gotten about 15% done of it. I do think once we get a method, it's going to have exponential effects, but yeah, it's taken a long time to make progress. Getting ready to stick the last piece for the day. This is our last tube of caulk. Hopefully this is going to be just one more day tomorrow because we did make a lot of progress, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys, so it is the following day after we've made a ton of progress, and we both work. So I actually got off work a bit earlier than Brendan. Figured I'd go ahead and get a head start on the roof. Started trimming the great stuff that was up there, and then I started to take measurements for the board for us to cut today. And I don't know how, but you can see here, pretty good freaking slice on my thumb with the tape measure, just along the bottom. Pretty much like a gnarly paper cut when the tape measure was coming back in. I need to get it cleaned up, but I think I'm the only one that's been, I mean, great for Brendan, but 2-0 on me getting cut twice throughout this project, both on my hands. So I gotta work on that. Also, as we are working on this roof project, I want to show you guys this plant that we got a little bit ago. Check it out. I mean, look at that strawberry. That guy is ready. Check that out. You gotta have some wins as you're going through these projects. And for me, it's the strawberry.
Okay, we just prepped a few pieces and are now waiting for some great stuff to dry, so I think it's time to reveal...
Ooh, you almost hit me.
I'm so sorry. I think it's time to reveal the results of the foam test. So on this side is the PL300. This is the stuff that we have been using so far. It's a good time to run this test because we're almost out. I think we have 2 tubes left of it. And this is the stuff that we potentially will be using for the rest of it, assuming that it holds up.
I feel like the premium one is gonna, just like feeling the way that your top samples have dried, that's like rock hard, and this is still kind of mushy. PL300 has a cure time of 7 days. This has a cure time of 24 hours. I brought a tube of each so you can visually see the difference of the PL300 versus the premium. I'm gonna start with the PL300, see if I can attempt to get any of it off. Man, that's... Ugh. Okay. Well, I peeled some of it off. Let's try the premium. Oh, wow. Okay, so this little test definitely did not go the way we expected it to. The premium stuff definitely pulled off considerably easier than the foam board, and our local Home Depot is out of this. We only have like 2 bottles left, and granted, per like large panel, we're probably putting like 2, I would say 2 of these tubes down just for 1 panel. So we're gonna need way more tubes. We bought this because we thought this would work just as good, or if not better, but based on our little test, I say that we return these. The risk of it not being as strong for a project like this is so not ideal. We are going to see if we either can order some or make a drive and pick some other stuff up, but it's just the beauty of living on an island with limited resources.
Ooh, just finishing up work and getting started for the day. And Gabby told me that our fridge just broke. So we've been having some issues with it. I have a temperature sensor where I was tracking the temperature over time, and it just stopped working yesterday. I really hope this fridge isn't gone for good, because I don't want to get on a new one right now, but I feel like I'm so like unaffected by bad news right now. It is what it is, and we'll figure it out. So I was just kind of complaining to Gabby about the fridge, and I was saying, you know, if we replace our fridge, we should replace it with a 12-volt fridge because it doesn't need a vent. It doesn't need one on the outside, and it doesn't need on the roof. So we get back to work, doing our little thing here and there, and then Gabby mentions, hey, didn't we cover up the fridge vent on the roof? Because we already worked our way down probably 80% of the roof. We did. We completely covered up the vent on the top with the wood. We did just install the piece yesterday, and today was the first day that the fridge got hot. So I think we might just turn off the fridge for a bit. When we get all this installed, we're gonna recut our holes and everything, and then we'll turn the fridge back on and see if it works. Hopefully that was the problem. We are on the last piece of the night and the sun is setting. Let's see if we can get this installed before it's dark. All right, we are now hopefully on the last day of this roof rebuild, at least for the wood part.
Yeah,
So-
like part one of what really needs to happen.
So we finished like pretty late last night getting the last piece on. We left the glue and all the blocks. So today after work, Gabby went ahead and started, and then I finished taking all of these blocks off of the top of our roof. So that was all the weight that was holding it down. The final step is going to be taking the jacks down from the inside, and then we're going to walk up there and see if it seems strong enough. A little bit scary. This is kind of like the final test, I would say. What we have installed is technically thicker than what was up there before, so we should have some gauge of how strong it should feel, but we'll see if that holds true. 2 jacks, let's do it.
Oh my god, it's so hot in here. I'm so ready to have an AC back. It's just ridiculous. Jack number 2, jack number 2. All right, you're loose.
All right. It only dropped by, I don't know, maybe a quarter inch or something.
Look at that clearance. I feel like I always have a ton of clearance in this RV. It's really 6'2" Brendan that ever has to worry about head clearance. Straw probably makes me like 5'8".
Yeah, everything seems, I would say, like it was before, but the real test is gonna be going up top.
Gotta walk around.
All right, so careful where you're walking.
Careful where you're walking.
Okay, so up top, it's obviously got a flat deck here.
Not bad.
There's some areas where there are holes, so if I can press down, that hole's gonna be cut out. We kind of know where the holes are and can feel around if anything else doesn't feel okay. So you walk around a bit and see how it feels.
It's so funny how confident I used to walk on our old roof and how skeptical I am walking around on this one, but this one's far stronger.
I'm sure you can see me sinking in
Yeah,
because I could see you flexing,
yeah.
but it feels so much better than it looks, I would say. It feels pretty solid. We got a fan hole right there. We got an AC here. Most of the holes are in the back, but I would say we're ready to keep this job going.
We were considering potentially adding another layer of the 5mm underlayment that we used
Yeah.
to double up the roof for additional strength. Of course, it would come at the cost of additional weight. We started off trying to make it thicker to begin with, and we ran into so many issues because of that. And right now, this works. So the thought of trying to improve it at the risk of making it worse, based on our experience, I almost feel like it's too big of a risk. I would say at this point of the project, we are probably 40 to 50 hours in.
Yeah, it's been working on it every single day for probably 10 days straight. So it's getting pretty tiring.
I was hoping that this was gonna be a week project, but probably by the time everything is put back in place,
Yeah.
I feel like it might be 3 weeks.
I'm definitely happy with the work that we have so far. I feel like it's not like cheersing and celebrating quite yet, because there's still more work to be done, but don't get me wrong, like we're super happy with the stage that we're at right now.
I'm proud of us too.
Yeah.
It took
It was some determination. It was definitely getting to a point where it was like, did we just screw up our RV? Like, I was like,
We had some rough
is
nights.
this thing totaled? Like, if we can't get the roof together, then everything else is worthless. But, you know, things work themselves out, and I think that we have a path forward. So looking forward to keeping this going.
So from here, like Brendan said, next steps are going to be cutting the holes, membrane, and putting back on all of the new stuff that we bought for the roof that we are so excited about. So we're kind of hoping that this was the hardest part. That's undecided if that
never
is
seems to be the
true. So stay tuned to next week's video to see how the membrane and everything else comes across. And I will say, I absolutely envy being a viewer of this channel because I would just love to watch somebody just do this work for me. But when we're the ones doing it, I'm already excited to see next week's video because I just want the work to be done with already. For all of you that have stayed tuned on this RV renovation so far, thank you so much for your channel support. Feel free to give this video a like as it does help expand the reach of this channel. And guys, till next week.